You're an early worm today, Miss Anne. But do come in. You simply couldn't wait, could you?
Forgive me that I am not my niece, and for disturbing you so early in the morning. All I wanted to know is how my brother's guest is faring, and whether there is anything he lacks.
Thanks to your brother, I don't lack a thing. Allow me to introduce myself. William Shakespeare, at your service.
We are cousins in name, parted merely by rank. Lord William Stanley. It's a pleasure, I'm sure.
And for me, an honor. What can I do for you?
Do for me? There's nothing you could. As for my brother, though, he is quite taken with you and the talent you refer to as theatre.
He is a connoisseur of my art like no other in this town.
You're right about that. He positively lives for it, which is surely better than dying for something else. What's your opinion, William?
The art of the stage shall serve life at all times. Solely the art of warfare serves death, my lord.
Yet when it serves the purposes of honor and heritage, it is worth fighting for, isn't it?
I am not well versed in fighting.
Believe me, I do understand you. The naked drawn sword, that is not your remit, although words can be a far worse weapon.
The words I write serve a purpose unto themselves, and the story being told, they surely have no other intention.
Intended or not, watch your words, William, that the tongue which speaks them does not betray its holder.
I have naught to betray other than myself and my dreams.
Uncle William?
My dear niece, what a great pleasure to see you. You may gladly keep your dreams to yourself, as long as you keep my words in mind.
My thanks once again, my lord. I shall not forget them.
Master Shakespeare has time for you now. I wish you lots of fun with his fairy tales.
Fun that I shall have, Uncle William, though I don't need your wishes to do so.
Miss Anne, so nice that you've come, and that the graveness of life departs once more with your uncle.
I came as fast as I could. I didn't want to miss the story.
Without you, it has no chance to continue either. Where had we left off?
Where Juliet and Romeo were vowing their love before the altar.
How lovely it would be if things ended there, and it all took a turn for the best. But no sooner. The sun next day cooks emotions to a boil, and Tybalt seethes with rage because Romeo escapes. Self-styled guardian of Juliet's honor, he's bent on punishment. Seeing Romeo, he draws his sword, the brute. As for Romeo, he recognizes Juliet's cousin and would avoid a fight. Always one to stand by a friend, Mercutio draws his sword. Romeo rushes between them, merely wanting to part the two. Beneath Romeo's arm, Tybalt thrusts towards Mercutio. He stabs him mid-chest, a mortal wound, and Mercutio sinks to the pavement. Romeo is beside himself and deals a bloody blow that takes Tybalt's life. He flees with the blood of a friend and a cousin sticking to his hands. As for the citizens of Verona, they denounce the bloodbath. Again, the dispute has besmirched the streets of their city. The Capulets are off to hunt down Romeo, demanding that his blood too shall flow. As for him, he'd flee both their revenge and his own deed. But the mob corners him in a narrow alley, where he desperately seeks a way out.
you need there.
chased by bloodlust and plagued by his own conscience, Romeo can only escape the former. Yet he does not remain unscathed. A sharp branch bores into his side. Leaning against a wall to regain his breath, he ends up sinking, exhausted, to the ground. Juliet learns of Romeo's flight and Tybalt's death from her nurse. The grief due to her cousin is outweighed only by her fear for Romeo's life. She must look for him, stand by him, with the nurse willing to help her. On the large plaza where Tybalt died and Mercutio too, Juliet's quest for a sign of life from her Romeo commences. Juliet discovers her Romeo in a narrow alleyway. He's running a fever and nigh onto delirious. She beds his head in her lap and dabs the sweat from his brow. Then she brings him to the abbey, to Friar Lawrence, the last safe haven. Having injured his hand, Lawrence needs Juliet's help to take care of Romeo's wounds. She is to prepare a tincture made of herbs in order to free her husband of his fever.
You might find something else there. You should take a look over there. Have you already tried there?
Juliet's love and skill heal the wounds Romeo has suffered. She stays by his side till his life's fire has been newly fanned aflame. With Romeo snatched from death's jaws, Lawrence sends Juliet home. No need for her absence to arouse suspicion. Lost in curative sleep, Romeo dreams of Juliet and awakens in his bed alone. He calls out to his bride, the woman who brought him back to life. He believes that he has lost her too through his deed and is set on suicide. But the nurse comes just in time to grab the dagger out of his hand. Storming into the room behind her, Lawrence talks reason into the despairing man's head. Rather than fleeing from life, he ought to flee from certain death. Then that is what faces him if he remains in town any longer. But Romeo has had enough of fleeing. To Juliet and to lie in her arms is what he wants. The nurse agrees to help the young couple have a wedding night. If Romeo promises to flee afterwards, she will pave the way for him to Juliet. After a night that could have gone on forever, Romeo hears larks heralding the day clearly in his ears. For her part, Juliet swears it was nightingales, so that he stays with her. Yet Juliet's wish would have been his death sentence. Even so, to fulfill that wish, Romeo would have gladly taken such a sentence in stride. Juliet, mind you, is not willing to part with his life, not for an instant, and sends him off with her blessing. Come in.
I do hope I'm not bursting in on the tale at its best point.
Not at the best, Father, for there are quite a few of those. But you did interrupt Master William when it was particularly lovely and tragic.
Then I hereby beg your forgiveness, milady. I've come with something that brooks no delay.
Meaning that it's time for me to do embroidery or play the zither?
Neither nor. I've come with an offer for our guest.
Is his play going to be done on our stage? I can hardly wait.
Don't be so impatient, young lady. Give Master William just a bit more time to end the drama.
Thanks to your daughter, I'm progressing well and feel quite confident.
Then I shall see to it that I do what I can to get the play on stage as soon as possible.
Thank you for the faith you place in me. Yet, what else could have brought you to me that brooks no delay?
I found that ring that you received from your wife and were forced to sell.
My lord, that's...
It is with great pleasure that I hereby make a gift of it to you once again. Accept this remembrance of your Anne as gratitude for bringing such joy to mine.
'Tis not you who should be thanking me. I'm the one who is obliged to give thanks. You've not only given me a roof over my head, but a home in which I can act like a human being, and reside as well.
I do so gladly, and shall take added joy in presenting you with a stage for your first piece.
Oh, you must, Father. You surely won't regret it. You won't.
As I know that well, allow me to take leave of you. I want to get everything ready for the premiere.
You're setting such great hopes on so many empty pages.
William, I am certain you shall fill them yet.
You're not the only one who bears that certainty. I'm very eager to hear what happens next.
Then I won't stand in the way of a tale to tell, and say to you with a merry heart, farewell.